Hey guys, sorry for being late. Uh, so first things first, we're gonna talk about the World Series and Game Four yesterday, which was, I'm sure, a great experience for Yankees fans. For Dodgers fans, not so much. I like there was a moment in that game where I was like, "Oh, we might come back in this," and then the Yankees just went like, we're going to take this game. And I had a feeling they were going to take one of the last two. Um, Yesterday, I was like, oh, they might take game three because they're at home and it's just home field advantage. I didn't think we were going to go up 3-0. But um, just watching it, man, it really seemed like the Yankees came to life. Aaron Judge was batting a lot better. He got a hit. He walked, and then he got hit, and then he got a hit. So his bat was a lot better than the multiple the multiple strikeouts he's had this series. Um, Soto did well. A lot of their bats did well. The grand slam. Um, I think I talked about it with a couple of other Dodger fans. They were just thinking that Dave Roberts punted the game, and I was like, yeah, I think once they got the grand slam on Hudson, he definitely he definitely didn't put out his high leverage arms um, then. But I don't think he started the game saying, "Oh, we're just gonna lose this game, save our best arms." I don't think that was his full intention the first couple innings. But once the grand slam happened, they went up 5-2. He was like, probably should save my high leverage arms for tomorrow." And um, good win for the Yankees. They scored 11 runs. Um, I was half expecting them to win this game because the Yankees are such a good team that I didn't think that they would be swept. As a Dodgers fan, I want the Dodgers to close the door this game, but if they don't, they have a chance with Garrett Cole coming back, and um, Yankees fans are like, "Oh, he's got to pitch 120 pitches." Okay. Um, Other than that, I think that the Dodgers batting was a little sloppy. Um, a lot of strikeouts that we didn't used to get the past couple series, the past couple games. Um, yeah, so for the for the Dodgers to win this game, they need to clean up their bats. And Flaherty has to pitch for 5-6 innings again, shutout, because Garrett Cole is going to do that as well. Um, for the Yankees to win this game, they're going to have to keep this momentum. They scored 11 runs last game, so they need to keep up the momentum of just putting the ball in play, getting home runs, getting on base usually, because game three they didn't get on base. They didn't get on base. They didn't hit anything. They struck out most of the time, and it was um, like the wind kind the spirit kind of came out of the Yankees that game, until the ninth inning when Verdugo hit that 2-run shot, but by then it was too little, too late. Um, and then last game they kind of came alive. They hit 11 runs. They hit in 11 runs. Um, uh, yeah, it's just for them to win, they have to keep up the momentum. They need to keep it up. Uh, Nothing really else matters for them because um, they need to they're in a must win for the rest of the series. They need to if they're going to win this series, they need to like as you know, it's 3-1 uh series series game. Like if the Dodgers win, the series over 5 games, gentlemen's sweep. Um Other than that, I think that um game 5 I don't know. I think that the Dodgers really need like I'm a Dodgers fan, so I'm going to talk from my perspective that they need to really step on the Yankees' throat today. Like they need to start off hot, more than 2 runs. I think that really made it so that the Yankees could get back into the game. They need like 4 or 5 runs in the first couple innings, because the Yankees are like one swing away from going off. Uh, Flaherty, I think that he needs to have his stuff like every pitcher. Um, just needs to keep going on his last game. Um, Not really letting them. Don't let them hit. That's the thing. Like strike them out, make them chase. Like it's. I know it's just like oh that's easier said than done, but that's what they need to do. They need to um, make them chase, make them chase again. Like the first 3 games, they chased a lot. The fourth game, they didn't chase that much at all, which is one of the main reasons um, Judge's bat woke up, kind of, last game. He wasn't really swinging at those pitches anymore. Like, I remember the first 2 games, he was swinging at low outside pitches and getting the easy strikeout. And then game 4, he was a lot more disciplined. So the Dodgers need to like get him to swing at those pitches again, because if not, then they might just win this game, and then suddenly it's 3-2, and the momentum is swinging by then. And like I know people are like, "Oh, it's 3-0. We just need to win one," but when the momentum's swinging, it's going to be hard to make that pendulum swing back in time for game 6. You know, game today is really a benchmark of whether we're gonna like. I know that the Dodgers are up. We're up 3-0, and it is going to be really hard for the Yankees to get it to game 7, rather much less 6. But they need to stomp on that fire now rather than later, because they can't just let this fire simmer, because it's once the pendulum is swinging, you can't really stop it. It's going to be hard to get that train off the tracks once it's swinging, once it's running. Um, Other than that, I just think that tonight, when the um, when the World Series is on, I think that it's going to be really the game of the series, because if the Dodgers win, the series is over. If the Yankees win, they have more momentum in the next 2 games um, in Dodger Stadium. So the one good thing is it's going to be in LA rather than New York, and LA fans are going to turn out. So that's the one good thing with that momentum. It can really stop there, like the buck stops there. But I think that the Dodgers really need this game. Um, on that, when the series was starting, I thought that it would be Dodgers in 7 because these teams looked really similar on paper. Like they looked really samey, but since I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm like Dodgers in 7. Um, yeah, so they need to step on it now, like kind of like smother the fire, then let it start. Um, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is the NFL. The next week of the NFL, I know I talked about the past week last time. Um, yeah, so the NFL next week scores. Uh, I'm just going to go in order. So, and I'm going to tell you the thoughts on it, who I think will win, um, all that, and what I think of each team and how their season is going, um, especially in recent trade acquisitions and stuff like that. So, um, first we have the Texans Jets. Um, I think the Texans will win quite easily. The Jets are in complete disarray right now. Um, Aaron Rodgers isn't really doing that much for the club. Um, they fired Robert Saleh, and then their defense just went straight into the toilet. So we're gonna need to look at that. Perhaps perhaps Aaron Rodgers next year will go to Vikings and then take them to the NFC Championship and then lose. I think I said that already. Um, but yeah, I think the Texans and CJ Stroud um, and their whole team are going to beat the Jets quite easily. The Jets don't have that good of a offensive line or wide receiver help. They don't have that good of a offensive coordinator. Their defense is letting up 28 games a game, 28 points a game since Saleh was fired. Um, it's just it's not looking good for the Jets, especially after the demoralizing loss to the Patriots last week. Yeah, I think the Texans will just win and win easily. Bears Cardinals, Cardinals fan here. Um, ooh, I picked the Bears to win this game. As a Cardinals fan, I think that we are very inconsistent. So this is a really either or game where I'm like, which which version of the Cardinals are going to show up? Because last game I was like, Cardinals over Dolphins. If the Dolphins don't have Tua, they had Tua, and we still won by a point. So we'll have to see what team shows up uh, this Sunday, but hopefully it is the good one, the good team, and then we'll beat the Bears. But uh, yeah, go Cards. Next game, Rams Seahawks. It's going to be a close one. I think the Seahawks defense is rebuilding right now. Still letting up a bunch of yards, um, especially on the in the run game. Um, and the Rams did a good job against the Vikings and Flores over there, who have a great run defense. They stopped the Lions the first half when they were running. They're a run first team and then throw it off the play action type team. Um, so I think that the Rams have a good run offense, and then now that Cooper Cup and Puka Nacua are back, I think that I have a feeling that the Rams will win this game, and then go to 4-4, and the Seahawks will go to 4-5. Dolphins Bills. Bills. I think the Bills will win quite easily this game. Um, we all know what happened the last week 2. I think it was week 2 when these guys met the first time, and the Bills were winning quite easily on that one, even before Tua got concussed. But I just think that the Bills are a lot better than the Dolphins right now, and the Dolphins are kind of just still trying to get into the groove. They're on week 2 while everyone else is on week 8 or 9. Like the Dolphins have to restart. Like it would be one thing if they were hovering over 500 and then now they get Tua back. But since they were so bad without Tua, they kind of need to restart. So, like I said, it's week 2 for them, but week 8 or 9 for everyone else. So I think the Bills will win quite easily. Um, Broncos Ravens. I think this will be a really tough game. One has a great defense, one has a mid defense, one has a great offense, one has a mid offense. So I think that it'll be pretty close. I think the Ravens a lot of times play down to competition, but they also play up to competition. So I think the Ravens will not lose back to back. I think they'll win this one. They'll be close, and that I think that Bo Nix is gonna keep developing under Sean Payton, and then we'll just have to see from there. Next, Chargers Browns. Ooh, this is also a tough one. The Chargers have a good defense this year. Shocker, without Brendan Staley, but the Chargers have a good defense, mid offense. Even with Justin Herbert, they're kind of they're run first, but also they don't really run the ball that well. Their offensive line is a lot more pass pro rather than run pro, but I just think that the Chargers are going to win this game. I'm not really sure on Jameis, though I am rooting for him. I think that he's good enough to start in the league, but I don't think he's as good as many other starters. If you get my gist. Yeah, I think the Chargers will win this game. It might be close. It might be down to the last second, like a last second touchdown or a last second field goal. Next, Saints Panthers, NFC South. Gosh, this is really hard because the Saints are nowhere near the caliber of team they were the first 2 weeks. Like something just snapped. The wheels came off like that. It kind of just blew up. Week 3, and I don't know if they're going to keep skidding like this. I think this is a get right game. I think especially against the Panthers, who are just awful. So I think the Saints will win this one, but it's going to be a lot closer than Saints fans might like. I don't know if Derek Carr. I don't think Derek Carr is coming back this week. But once Derek Carr comes back, I think they'll be a little bit better because I think Spencer Rattler is still pretty raw. Other than that, I think that the Saints are just going to win this one. Yeah, but it'll be close. It'll be close. Raiders Bengals. Ooh. I might get to this another time, but I really have a problem with the Bengals kind of drafting and team building, and I think that it's finally come to bite them in the butt this year. And the Bengals Raiders, I think, is going to be a lot closer than people think. Um, I still think the Bengals will win because the Raiders don't know who their quarterback is, and Gardner Minshew is not that good. And Joe Burrow is one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now. So I think the Bengals will win, but it's going to be a lot closer than anyone is comfortable with and than a lot of people will think. Um, like, man, their offensive line, man, they've never really gotten that right. And the Raiders have Max Crosby, who can really just decimate an offensive game plan. So we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. But I think it's going to be the Bengals over the Raiders, but closer. Commanders, Giants. I think the Commanders will just win. Jane Daniels is good. I think he's getting better every week. Rather than, I think that he was the most NFL ready of the quarterbacks, and then also he still has a lot to grow. I think the Commanders are going to win this game. The Giants are kind of in that state where they're just like, "What are we doing now?" Like it's not really that. It's not really that close between these two teams. Um, yeah, the offense, the Commanders' offense is a lot better than the Giants' offense, and the defense are on par. So I just think that the Commanders are gonna go to the playoffs this year. They're gonna fight for the Eagles for the top spot, but in their division. Um, Next is Cowboys Falcons. I think the Falcons are gonna win. I don't think that's kind of a hot take, especially how the Cowboys are now. But I think the Falcons offense is just going to cut through that defense. And then the Falcons defense is actually pretty good this year. So I think the Falcons are just gonna walk through the Cowboys this week. It's not going to be really close, although it may look close because Dak is still top 12, top 10. I think it's top 12, more like top 12 quarterback in the league. Um, and he'll just find ways to score and stuff like that. But his relationship with CD is not hasn't really been right ever. So I think that the Falcons will just walk through this. Patriots Titans. Gosh, if Drake May comes back, I think the Patriots will win. The Titans are looking better with Mason Rudolph than Will Levis. I will say that, but I just don't know if the Titans are good enough this year. Like, I don't know. Like, even when last year when they fired their coach, I wasn't really with it. He's been holding this ship together, and they've just had bad. Like they couldn't get the quarterback right, and just I think that firing their coach was just too reactionary to the play on the field because their defense was still pretty good. Their defense was still pretty good, and um, their offense just was stagnating. So they needed to get another offensive coordinator, but I don't think they should have fired their coach. Next, Eagles Jags. Eagles pretty easily. I don't think the Jaguars are really. They're not really good. I think Doug Peterson needs to be fired sooner rather than later. I thought that last year when they went on that big losing streak and missed the playoffs, I was like, there's a reason the Eagles fired Doug Peterson just after he won them a Super Bowl. Like, it's not that hard to see why. Like, I think that Doug Peterson was a calming presence in the beginning. Like, he was kind of that presence. He was obviously better than Urban Meyer, and he was kind of that presence where you're just like, oh yeah, he'll help Trevor Lawrence get back to the way he was when he was a rookie coming out of college. But now he needs someone to get him to that next step, and I don't think it's Doug Peterson. I think that it's going to be someone else, maybe Ben Johnson, maybe one of these other up and coming offensive coordinators like Bobby Slowick or someone like that. I think that um, the Jaguars need a new coach, man. I don't think Doug Peterson is it. Next, Lions Packers. This really depends on whether Jordan Love is active this week. He hurt his groin last week against the whoever they were playing. I think it was the Jaguars. He got hurt against the Jaguars. Malik Willis started in lieu of him, and I think that Malik Willis is good, not great in this offense. He can win you games, but Love can win you the tough games. I think that he has a better arm. That it's just his decision making, man. That he leans more to the Brett Favre side rather than the Aaron Rodgers side of his decision making, and I think that it's like I need to listen more to that Aaron Rodgers side on the field, not off the field. But if Jordan Love is there, I think it will be a tough game. I think the Lions will pull out, especially it'll be a lot closer since Hutchinson is not there. I know everyone's like, "Oh, Hutchinson is gonna like be the make or break." I don't think he's gonna be the make or break, but he is a very vocal leader in that locker room. I think that losing him will make a difference. It might not be as big as a difference than people initially thought, but it will make a difference. But I don't think it'll make as much of a difference for the Packers to win, even with Jordan Love. If they have Jordan Love, it will be a lot closer. But with Malik Willis, I think that the Lions will just win. The Packers' defense is much improved, better than Joe Barry. So I think that it'll be a lot like the Vikings game, because I think the Vikings and the Packers are pretty much on par with each other. With Jordan Love pretty much scorched Brian Flores' defense and came back to almost win it, but the defense stopped them in the last couple drives, and then they won by a couple points. And then the Lions beat the Vikings by a couple points. So I think it's the hierarchy for the NFC North is really Lions, then just under them the Vikings, then just under them the Packers, and then a few steps below is the Bears. I don't think the Bears are ready this year. Caleb Williams is getting better, although he is getting better every week. I think that last game was just an aberration on his upward trajectory, but I don't think they're really ready this year. I think that Eberflus needed to be fired last year, but they gave him an extra year. I think that Caleb Williams is the answer. Although other people say he's not. I think that he will get better and better. I think that he has one of the higher ceilings of the new quarterbacks. But I think that 3 out of the 4 of them, well, like Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jordan Daniels are like top three of that class. So next, we'll have Colts Vikings. I think the Vikings will win that pretty easily, even though Joe Flacco is going to be in instead of Anthony Richardson. But I just think that I know everyone's like, oh, the Vikings defense isn't as good as we thought. Yeah, they're not top of the league, like number 1 defense, but I think they're still top 10. And I think that's more than enough to stop the Colts offense. I think the Colts defense isn't really good enough to stop the Vikings offense. I think the Vikings will win pretty easily. Monday Night Football, Chiefs Bucks. Oh, just trying to look for one of these where the Chiefs have a chance to lose. Um, mm, Baker Mayfield has had a kind of interception type thing recently where he's thrown multiple interceptions in the past couple games. Um, that won't work against the Chiefs. Like he needs to play the perfect game to even have a chance to beat the Chiefs. Um, and their defense, uh, they're good. I think that Todd Bowles is that kind of coach who can draw something up for the Chiefs. But this might be the game because honestly, the Buccaneers are better than a lot of people think, um, and I think the Chiefs are kind of kind of skating through raindrops. But man, with D Hop there, and then they just got Uche, um, that their new pass rusher from uh, the Patriots. I think that I don't know, man. Especially with the Buccaneers losing their uh, top two receivers, I just think the Chiefs will pull this one out, even though they haven't looked the best this year. They've made everyone else look their worst against them this year. So I think that I and all the other teams are giving them their best shot and they're pushing. They're kind of pushing that limit. They're trying to be like, "Oh, we're trying to push for the extra points, the extra to beat this team, but doing that will just lead them to losing." So, I just think that the Chiefs will win this one. The only time I think that they'll really lose is the once a year the Bills beat them in the regular season, but and then everyone will be like, "Oh, is this it for the Chiefs? Are they gonna are they gonna fall apart because they haven't been looking good this whole year, and then they're gonna be back in the championship, the AFC championship, and they'll probably walk to the Super Bowl, and we'll see what happens in the Super Bowl." But a lot of people are praying that for that not to happen, and parity in this game is kind of hard with a team this good. But man, I don't know about the Chiefs. I'm not going to count them out because um, they just have to sleepwalk to the playoffs, and then and then they turn it on, and then they'll win. But man, Patrick Mahomes needs to get his interceptions in check. He already has 9 for the year. He has 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, and it's kind of like they're winning in spite of him. And I know how that sounds. It's like, no, they're not. They're winning because of him, because he's the best quarterback in the league. And I'm like, yeah, but he's just the past couple of years, man. He's just been in the downward trajectory. He won the MVP 2 years ago when they faced the Eagles, and then the next year he had a down year, which was still a really good year, and this year he's just not as good as he was, and it's just like, what's happened? Like, why is this happening? Why is he throwing so many interceptions? I know that Chiefs fans are like, oh, he's gonna turn it on in the playoffs. Like, it doesn't matter until the play. Yeah, I know, but we still have these questions now because it's like this isn't the Patrick Mahomes we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing him like even without Tyreek Hill, he won the MVP and he threw for over 4,000 yards and ran for another couple hundred and got over 5,000 total yards. That's why he won the MVP. It's just that this is a much different quarterback than we've grown used to seeing. So everyone's kind of like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? So um, I don't know who I missed. Uh, I talked about Chicago. I talked about San Francisco. I think they have a bye week this week. Um, Do they have a bye week this week? Yeah, I think they have a bye week this week. San Francisco, they're just hurt, man. Um, they're just hurt. San Francisco, though I hate the 49ers as a Cardinals fan, as an LA fan, um, though they're just hurt, man. But I think that once they get more healthy, they'll start rattling off some games. I think this happened the year they got McCaffrey. They weren't looking good. They got blasted by the Chiefs, and then they came back to go to the NFC Championship anyway. So unless a lot of these injuries are for the year, I know Brandon Ayuk is out for the year, but I don't know if anyone else is. Um, I think they'll still be in contention for the NFC Championship. Um, I think they'll rattle off a couple games this next couple weeks. Um, yeah, I think that the Shanahan will turn this team around, and whether he does that in the postseason, in the championship game or the Super Bowl, it remains to be seen. But um, yeah, I think that the 49ers are nowhere near out of it. Um, and that the NFC West is still wide open. Any one of those teams, a lot of those teams are just inconsistent. Um, I think the San Francisco 49ers are the most consistent out of the group. And I think the Rams will be close to that now that they got Puka Nacua and Cooper Cup back. Um, and then, yeah, I think it will be a dog race to the finish with that group. I think they'll all end up around 10-7, 9-8, 11-6. Um, and it will be close. It will be close to the end, man. I don't think any of these teams are bad per se. Um, I think that Arizona still needs a year, and Seattle still needs a year because they just changed coaches, changed cultures, and it's like NFC South. I think Atlanta will probably win the South, especially since they beat Tampa 2 times. Um, yeah, Atlanta is really in the driver's seat right now, unless they collapse, like mega collapse. I think they'll win the NFC South. NFC North, I think it's Detroit's to lose. Um, it really depends on what happens this Sunday with Green Bay, which I think that Detroit will win. But I think it will be Detroit, then Minnesota, then Green Bay, then Chicago. And I think that Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota will make the playoffs in the NFC. I think that Chicago will be just out because Chicago is good, but I think they need a year or two. And Eberflus fired and a new coach. They might get Ben Johnson. I've seen some rumors that he was looking at the Chicago job. The East, oh gosh, it was Dallas's last year, and it might be Washington's this year, or Philly. Like I think that those two are really going to battle it out. Unless something drastic happens with Dallas, I don't think they're gonna make it close. They already have 4 losses, and it's like how their offense is just above par, and their defense is below par, especially with the injuries. Even before the injuries, they weren't that good. So we'll have to see with them. The West, it's Kansas City's to lose. Um, I think they're much better than the Chargers and Las Vegas. The Chargers need another year or two to season for Harbaugh to get his real guys in and kind of culture in, but they're doing a lot better this year than last year. Let me tell you that. So I have a lot more confidence in them making the playoffs this year than I had last year. Denver, I think are gonna pull in second like they did last year. I think that Sean Payton is really, even though a lot of people were like, "Oh, he was just Drew Brees really pulled him up. I think that he's still a pretty good offensive coordinator. I think that they'll win a bunch of games. They might even make the playoffs, but just when you're in the same conference as the Chiefs, you're going to need to be perfect to take that conference away from them. Like, especially now with Spags. Like, I don't think Spags is going to get another head coaching job. And then Andy Reid, the job is his as long as he wants it and until he retires, And that might be 5 years, that might be 10 years. It might be a couple years, might be next year. We really have no idea what's in his mindset. And I don't really like to guess on that kind of thing. But I think that it's the Chiefs until either Andy Reid retires and they need to get a new head coach, or until someone has to be perfect to usurp them, Next, the South, AFC South, I think it's really the Texans to lose. There was a lot of turmoil in that in the South for the past couple years, but I think that the Texans really have a hold on it. D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud really, and then like his defense really have I think the Texans will run this conference for years to come. Even with Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence there, I just don't think their teams are ready for that push. Now, whether Anthony Richardson develops or not, we'll have to see. Because I'm rooting for him. He seems like a good kid. Just needs to mature a little bit. Needs to learn to not say that he's tired on air, saying, "Oh, I was just tired." You can't say that, but he just needs to learn a couple things. I think that he can learn from Joe. Just like I've said before, just learn how to make the easy throws. Like, we already know he can make the hard throws. Just learn how to make the easy throws. I think that's the main thing for a lot of young quarterbacks. Like, they don't know how to make the easy throws. Like, a lot of quarterbacks, they know how to make the medium range throws, the long throws, but they need to learn how to take the quick outs and the drags and the running back out of the backfield. And that's really what, like, you need to move the ball, get first downs in this league, and like, if you keep going for bombs, you're not going to get it. So, and finally to the North and East. So North and East. North, AFC North. I think the Baltimore Ravens will win it. Not anything against Pittsburgh, but Russell Wilson's getting a little long in the tooth, and the job's his for this year, it seems like. But I think that Justin Fields still has a bigger ceiling because Russell Wilson's getting a little long in the tooth. And if Justin Fields can learn to do the deep ball, because, like I said earlier, he knows how to take the easy routes, and that's why they were 4-2 under him. But Russell Wilson takes chances, so you need to take the easy routes, but then once in a while take the deep shot, But we'll see what happens. Rooting for Russell Wilson. He seems like a good dude. But I think that Baltimore's just the better team right now. The East, what's to say but Buffalo? Buffalo's 4 games ahead of everybody in this conference. Everybody else has two wins, and the Bills have 6. Man, the Bills, like, ever since the the Patriots lost Tom Brady. It's been the Bills' conference to lose, and I really believe that. I think that Buffalo, as long as they have Josh Allen, have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Um, they just need to beat Mahomes, which is easier said than done. Um, I think that Mahomes is just that much better and stuff like that. Buffalo, yeah, I think that Buffalo is going to win this division unless there's a historic collapse and Miami just comes from the rear. But that's not going to happen to the Bills like it happened to the Dolphins last year. So yeah. Other than that, that ends the NFL segment. Um, yeah, those are my thoughts. Uh, next time on Friday, I think that I'll go over different thoughts about each team, like I did the first stream, which didn't have any sound, but I'll redo those. Get more into detail about some of my hotter takes and stuff like that. But other than that, see you Friday, 1 o'clock. Sorry for being late today, but I'll see you then. Signing off.